welcome everyone to tonight's webinar on December 8th, the topic of which is Facebook 101. Before I introduce our presenter tonight, today we learned that a past governor of the Carolinas district passed away today. Howard Klein was governor of the Carolinas district in 2007, 2008. He joined the Kiwanis Club of Waynesville, North Carolina in 1999 and was a faithful member for more than 20 years. Served the district in so many capacities. And also was a retired, spent 30 years with the United States Navy and was just an important member of the Waynesville community. He's married to Ann, who is also a member of the Kiwanis Club of Waynesville. They were married for 50 years, and we will greatly miss Howard. And we're very appreciative for all that he has done for Kiwanis and the Carolinas district. And before I introduce our presenter, let us just have a moment of silence to remember Howard Klein. Thank you. So our presenter tonight is Ann Mariah Burton. Ann Mariah, and there she is. Everyone like that. So Ann Mariah is a native of Charlotte. She is a graduate of the International Baccalaureate program at Myers Park High School, where she was a member of Key Club. So she is a member of the Kiwanis family. She is a 2020 graduate of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, the Husband School of Media and Journalism, arguably the #1 journalism school in America. I know Ann Mariah probably feels that. My wife is an alumna of that J school, also the NJ school. So, but it is a fabulous, fabulous journalism school. She earned a bachelor's degree in advertising, and she also had a minor in composition, rhetoric, and digital literacy. She was an honors laureate recipient. At UNC, she was also a sister in the Gamma Lambda chapter of Phi Mu sorority, which has been named Pan-Hellenic Sorority of the Year for 3 consecutive years, and which she and my wife also share that in common. They're both Phi Mus. Ann Mariah works as an account coordinator with Mythic. Mythic, MYTHIC, is a Charlotte-based large advertising agency, and I'm sure that they're very thrilled to have her there. She has been consulting with the Carolinas district some this summer and also this fall, where she's developed a social media plan, and that she will also consult with the district to help us as we proceed with implementing that plan. So without further ado, it is my pleasure on the topic of Facebook 101 to introduce Ann Mariah Burton.
Thank you, Chris. That was such a warm welcome. I'm really excited to be here tonight and talk with you all. This is something that is near and dear to my heart. Love talking about social media, love bringing new people into the mix to learn these new skills, because I think it's really fun once you can kind of get into everything and see all the power that's there in terms of what Facebook can do and how it can connect you with people. So with that, I will share my screen and jump right in. Okay, so intro to Facebook. So a little about what we're going to cover tonight. I'm going to start with a couple of Facebook basics, just really surface level, kind of what you need to know to get started. So including how do you create an account, how do you add a profile picture, what are friends on the Facebook platform, liking different pages, what does the Facebook platform in general look like, and kind of the different parts there, because it can be a little confusing when you're new to the platform and don't really understand what all the buttons do or what all the pieces of the page mean. And then likes versus comments. That lingo may not make sense, but we'll explain it all. Timeline versus newsfeed, and then also how to post content. So how can you actually make use of Facebook and share your thoughts or pictures, etc. And then I'll also touch on how you can be more involved with Carolinas District of Kiwanis and Kiwanis International through Facebook. And then I'll open it up for questions at the end. So starting at the top, Facebook basics. So step one, if you do not already have a Facebook account, would be to create an account. And so it's very easy. They make the whole platform pretty user-friendly and pretty open. If you want to join, it's not too difficult to join, and they do that for a reason. And so all you really have to do to start creating your account is you go to www.facebook.com, and then on the side you'll see this little box where you can put your email address or phone number in, create your password. Once you click create new account, then you'll have those options. Sorry. So they make it easy, and all you really have to have is an email, and then you can get started. So once you've done that, the next step is choosing a profile photo, which is the little circular picture that's going to come up anytime someone searches your name or anytime you search someone else's name. You'll see a picture of them, or if they choose to have a picture of something besides themselves, that's totally fine. But it's really fun to add your own spin on that, whether that's, picture of you with your dog or you with your husband or wife. It's just a good way to show people who you are and what your page is about. And then the other component of that is called a cover photo, which is the long horizontal photo that shows up at the top of your profile. And so you can kind of play around with what you want to include with either of those. But again, another way to just make your profile unique and make it about you. If you have a hobby, you could do your cover photo of, the UNC basketball team, or you could do something Kiwanis related. There's really a lot of different options that you could include there. And they make it pretty easy to change that out if you want to change it out. There's just a little camera icon that you click on, and then you just choose your photo, and it'll direct you on how to do the rest. So that's a pretty easy step you can take to starting to get your profile tailored to you, and so you can actually start doing things with Facebook and getting to meet people through that. So once you have your account, you have your profile picture and cover photo set, and those are all checked off your list. The next step is to add friends. And so Facebook friends are what the platform calls people who you see what they post and they see what you post. So it's similar to the definition of what we think of as a friend, just that's what anyone you're connected with on Facebook is going to be called. It's going to be called your friend, which feels very warm and really makes it feel like a community in that way. But in order to add friends, all you do is you go back to the top of your page, which I can show you right here, where there's this search bar. And in the search bar, you're going to type the person's name who you're trying to find. And then you'll click enter on the end of that. And then their page will pop up. So it'll look just like this. And then down, I believe, let's see. On the page, there'll be a little button right about here that'll say, it'll be a little, let's see, little thumbs up, or the little person with the plus, excuse me. I'm thinking of the like button. You'll click the little person with the plus next to their profile picture, and then that will send them what's called a friend request, which is basically saying, would you like to be connected with me through Facebook? And they'll accept, and then they will officially be your friend. So kind of the other side of Facebook, besides having profiles and people and users that you can connect with, are pages. So for instance, Carolinas District of Kiwanis has a Facebook page, and that means that any of you guys, once you have your Facebook account, can like the page, and then that just means that you will see all of the content that page posts. So that's really important if you want to stay up to date on things that are happening with a small business or a university or any sort of other organization. More than likely, they probably have a Facebook page, and if you like that page, then you get to see everything that they post, and you get to kind of just have a better idea of what's happening behind the scenes a lot of time. And so to like the page, you just search the page or get to it if you get sent a link, or kind of any way you come about this Facebook page. And then there's going to be a little button, and it's going to have a little thumbs up, and it's going to say like, and that's how you like the page and stay subscribed basically to all that they're going to post. And you can just stay up to date that way. And it gets a little confusing, so I don't want to go too far into detail here, the difference between a like and a follow, but for all intents and purposes, they're pretty much the same thing there. Okay. So now that you kind of have an understanding of the couple of steps that you can take to really get started and jump into this, I'm gonna walk through what Facebook actually looks like when you have your account and you follow people or are friends with people, follow pages, kind of have all that set. What does the platform actually look like? So in this navy box up here is where if you wanted to create a post, that's where you would do it. And I'll walk through that a little more in just a moment. So that's what lives up there. And then up in this top right corner are what's called notifications. So anytime someone post something either about you or mention what's called a mention, which is basically when they tag your name in their post and say, I think you would like this, or you're in this photo, and that's where it would pop up, is on this little bell button up top. And then if you look also at the very top, you'll see this little circle with the profile picture that you just set in your name. And so anytime you want to get to your specific page, you just click that button, and then it's everything that you've put on your page that's specific to you. And then this is what's called a news feed, which you can think of it as kind of, reading the news, seeing what's happening on the Facebook platform. And so the easiest way to describe that is just see what other people are talking about. So see if you have a relative, see if they posted something, that's where it would show up. And then down here where I have the purple little rectangle is where you can like, comment, or share. So that basically means that you're adding information about, what do you have to say about what they're sharing? Did they post about their dog that had puppies, and you want to say, that's great, I would love to come see your puppy at some point, or something like that. That's where you can do it. You can click comment, and then just like this example, you type what you have to say, and then just click enter, and then you'd engage in that conversation and form that relationship in that way. So then a little more about what's a like versus what's a comment. So a like on Facebook is really just described as a post that you want to acknowledge, you want to kind of give a virtual thumbs up to. And so that's this little button right here with the thumbs up. So that's an easy way to think of it, as kind of giving a thumbs up to someone's content. You click the thumbs up. And then if you click comment, that's where you can write out what you want to say. So kind of if you want to start a conversation, or if you want to add to an ongoing conversation, that's a great way to do that. And then share button is just going to make it so that post is then on your profile and is shown up on people's Facebook platforms as being shared by you. And then something that Facebook implemented not that long ago are these different like options. So that's one thing that can be difficult about learning Facebook is they're constantly changing the platform. And the reason why they do that is to make sure it's user friendly, and to make sure that everyone that uses the platform can have the best experience with it. And so one of the things that they did fairly recently was adding these different like options. So instead of just having the thumbs up, you now have the love, and you can laugh at a post, or you can say, wow, or if it's something sad, you can do the little sad face. And so all you do there is, instead of when you click like, if you just hold it down for a little while longer, these options come up and you can select one of those. So that's just a fun element if you want to get a little more fancy with it. And if there's a post you really, really like, you could do the love, or if you think it's really funny, you could do the haha. But that's kind of if you want to do that. But most people usually just utilize the like function because that's easy and what most people are familiar with. So these are two terms I talked a little bit about earlier, but wanted to explain them some more just in terms of if you hear someone talk about them, you can feel like you know what they're talking about. So you have your timeline, which is all about you, all about your posts. So this is an example of what the Carolinas District of Kiwanis timeline looks like. And so it's going to include photos that Carolinas District of Kiwanis has posted or that someone else has posted of CDK and tagged them in. And it's going to, like I mentioned earlier, have that unique information. So it's going to have your name and your profile picture and your cover photo. So kind of think of that as kind of the home base for everything about you as a Facebook user and as a member of that community. And then on the flip side of that, the news feed is where you're going to see information from everyone else that you are friends with or pages that you follow. So that's kind of where you'll spend most of your time. Most likely, if you're on the platform, is seeing what other people have to say or searching Facebook or kind of any of those functionalities. That'll probably be where you're spending a lot of your time, and then your timeline will be kind of just the source of everything about yourself. If you want to review what you'd posted or look through what someone has tagged you in, you can do all of that way. Okay. And then one of the most important parts is how do you actually post content to your Facebook? So if you have something you want to say and you've created your profile and you follow pages and you're kind of ready to take the next step there, you can post content. So at the top of the Facebook platform, there's going to be this little box, which if you see this example here, you have this little box at the top. And in it, it says, what's on your mind? And so that's kind of your starter to get your thoughts in there to get things moving along. So all you have to do there is you type what you want to say in this box here. And then once you start typing, there's going to be a little icon that comes up that says post. You click that, you're done. If you just want to post words. And then if you want to get a little fancier with it, you can also add photos, and you would just click this photo/video button here, and then it puts it all together. So that's kind of the most basic approach to posting content on Facebook. And then if you want to get a little more fancy than just words, you can do photos and videos as well.
And quick question for you.
Yes.
Is anybody able to post content?
If you have a Facebook account, you can, yes.
No, I don't mean me, but I'm just saying for our club, if we have 20 members, can all 20 post content or no?
Are you talking about posting content from your club's Facebook account?
I guess so. Yes, I guess it would be posting it on the Facebook account. I'm thinking if that one of our members went to a Terrific Kids Assembly and took a photo and they wanted to put that on the club Facebook page.
Sure. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. Usually for Facebook pages, you have to kind of be added as an admin or a member or some function like that. So I wouldn't recommend that if you're just giving, regular members instead of kind of administrators for the club access. But you can have whoever that is tag your district or your local club in that post, and then it'll show up as this person tagged, Raleigh Kiwanis in their post, and then it'll show up on Raleigh Kiwanis's profile.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
And Steve, I just wanted to mention you brought up a great example with Terrific Kids that everyone on this call needs to understand, and that's we cannot post pictures of children without their parents' consent. So if you're at a Terrific Kids program and you take pictures of the children, in order to put them on any social media account, you have to check with the school to make sure those children's parents have signed a release form.
So Leah, that's a great question, because a point, because most of the schools are posting it on Facebook. They're posting the photos. We're not actually taking the photos. Some of our members are in, not this year, of course, but some of our members are in the photos, and they post it on Facebook. So we'll be able to take it from Facebook and put it onto our Facebook page.
I would say if the school has already done it and they've done their homework and checked, yes, you could. We just
Okay.
don't ever want to have it to where a child has been abducted
No,
because
we've always been very good with that.
Yep.
I don't think any of the clubs would do that at this point. But thank you.
Any other questions before I jump into different ways you can engage with Kiwanis through Facebook? All right, I will keep chugging along, and I'll have time for more questions at the end if you think of anything or just want to learn more about something. So how can you engage with Kiwanis through Facebook? So there are Facebook accounts for obviously Carolinas District of Kiwanis, as well as I'm sure a lot of your local clubs, as well as Kiwanis International. And so one of the great functions of a Facebook page is they can add events to the page. And so you guys all get the emails, and so you know about events that way, but this is kind of another way to stay up to date with what's happening, and it'll send you reminders through the Facebook platform, so you know, oh, I have that event coming up tomorrow. That's a great reminder. So basically, Facebook events are a great way to stay updated on everything that's happening, or kind of, you can also look back on what's happened in the past, and if there's extra information in there or resources that have been uploaded there, that's a great way to find that information. And obviously in times when we can't actually be together in person, it's great to really be updated there and know what's happening and become more engaged there. So another thing that you can look through on the Carolinas District of Kiwanis Facebook page are photos. So just talked a little bit about that. I mean, those could include, pictures that other people have posted that have included the club in. They could be photos that the club has uploaded themselves. There could be videos and a whole lot of things that can show up under this photos umbrella. And so a great way to really look back at what's happened in the past, or, if you remember seeing a photo and you want to find it again, this is a great place to look, or a great place to consult for more information if you would like to share something, or if you want to post this photo to your own profile and share it with those who are friends with you and follow you. So another great reason to get engaged with Carolinas District of Kiwanis on Facebook are the friends that are on there and the fellow Kiwanians. So right now there are over 500 Kiwanians that follow the Carolinas District of Kiwanis on Facebook right now. So a great network of like-minded people that really want to meet you and engage with you beyond just coming to events and chatting in that way. And so kind of how you can get a little more involved there is by becoming an active member of the Kiwanis Facebook network and engaging more with Carolinas District of Kiwanis's posts. Another way you can do that is you can invite your friends and family on Facebook to like the Carolinas District of Kiwanis page, so that then anytime CDK posts something, they see it and there's a potential for them to get more involved there. So a great way to really feel like you're a part of a larger community, and then you have that opportunity to keep growing that community and keep bringing more people in, maybe who haven't heard of Kiwanis or live in another place. You can send them to Kiwanis International's page and they can get more information about what Kiwanis does at a very high level. So I would say this is probably the function of Facebook that I get most excited about is kind of forming these relationships and forming these communities, especially in a club environment like this, where y'all have such a strong community outside of Facebook. You can transfer that community over to Facebook and make sure everyone's included and engaged on there. So I'll share this deck with Leah after this, so she can send it out if anyone would like to see it, but included the links to engage with Kiwanis on Facebook. So Carolinas District is just facebook.com/Carolinas District Kiwanis, and the Kiwanis International page is just facebook.com/Kiwanis. So very easy and straightforward to get to those links and check out those pages. And then there are a lot of resources out there to help you navigate Facebook if you're new to it or if you have any questions. And I would say there are a lot of times where I think of questions or I'm trying to figure out how to do something that I've never done before. And the Facebook Help Center is really, really great for that. They have a ton of articles, resources. If I remember correctly, I think they have a chat function, so you can probably chat with someone who works there. So I would say if you are trying to navigate the platform and you have questions or you want to learn how to do something, I would always consult Facebook Help Center first. And if they don't have the answer, there is always someone on the internet who is talking about that or may have an answer for you. So another great resource is called HubSpot, and they focus on articles about social media and marketing and sales and technology. So they're a great resource if you want to learn how to do something else, or they have this great page that's called How to Use Facebook, and it walks you through a lot of the stuff that we just went through, but could be a great resource if you want to pass that along to a friend who wasn't at this seminar and you think may want to learn how to use the platform and may want to get a little more involved there. And again, if you Google either Facebook tutorial 2020 or how to use Facebook, there are a plethora of resources that I think all of you guys could benefit from and could find helpful. So I know that's a place I always go to, is the good old internet. And with that, let's see, I'll open it up for questions.
And Mariah, if you want to just unshare,
Yes,
and that way we'll be able to see everybody.
I will do that. Okay, now I can see everyone.
I have a question. Just
Yes.
to see if I understand this correctly. If I want to see someone's posts and I want them to see mine,
Mhm.
then I put in a friend request, right? And they have to accept that friend request.
Yes.
If I want to see an organization like Carolinas District posts,
Yes.
I don't send in a friend request. I either like that page or I follow that page. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. You can think of for pages, liking it is equivalent to sending it a friend request.
Okay, and then what's the difference between liking it and just following it? Is there a difference?
That's where it gets a little confusing. I think for all intents and purposes, they're pretty much the same thing. It really has to do with kind of privacy type settings. If you like a page, someone could go on your profile and see a list of different pages that you've liked. But if you follow a page, they can't see that. But I would say probably everything you need to know, just like the page, and you'll cover all your bases.
But by liking a page,
Mm-hmm.
then they don't see your individual postings that you're posting, right? You're just seeing
No.
what they're posting.
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
It's just you as the user, you see that page, but they aren't seeing everything that you post about your dog or the great banana bread you baked.
Thanks.
No problem.
And Mariah, in the world of Facebook, if you have fewer than 10 friends, does that mean that you probably have no friends in real life?
No, it does not equate at all. I always just think it's funny how the users or the creators of Facebook chose to call everyone that's connected with you on Facebook your friend. It kind of, I don't know.
It's weird. It's weird when you get requests from people in Taiwan and different places. Like it seems like a race to get to 1,000 or 2,000 or something.
I know. Yes. Yeah. You definitely have to be smart about who you accept as your friend. Because obviously with any social network, unfortunately, you have those problems. So definitely just be mindful. I would recommend if you don't recognize the person, I usually don't accept the friend request, just for sake of keeping myself safe and all of my information.
So as a new graduate from UNC, could you rank the social media from a relevant standpoint for somebody who's in their 20s?
Sure. Gosh. I would say Instagram is probably at the top for us. I would say Facebook is pretty popular on college campuses just because a lot of the community and event functions that Facebook has. So if a club is doing a fundraiser, they'll create a Facebook event for it, and then everyone can just invite all of their friends that are fellow students to that. So I would say probably Instagram, and then Facebook, Twitter, probably up there as well. Snapchat's in there. I don't love Snapchat. It doesn't have quite the same functionality in terms of sharing information and receiving information. But
so Instagram and Facebook are like the two best that we should be involved with.
Yes, I would say. And if you did not know already, Instagram is owned by Facebook.
Oh.
So they're all connected, but obviously different platforms. But yes, Instagram was bought by Facebook not too long ago. So Facebook really does run the world.
Mariah, hi, this is Terry from Smithfield Kiwanis.
Hi there.
If you wanted to unlike a page, say I was following Carolina District and I said, okay, I get so much material coming by, I want to stop seeing that. Is there a quick way to do that?
There is. So the same way that you like the page where you click the thumbs up. So when you like the page, the thumbs up is going to turn blue, and where it says like, it's going to say liked, as in past tense.
Past tense, okay.
Yes. And so if you wanted to unlike that page, you would just click that button again, and then it would show up as, you have the option to like that page because now you've unliked it.
Okay.
So it is pretty easy. You just go to their page and click the same button, and it reverses it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good tip.
Hey, Mariah, Joe Crostic here. With regard to the Facebook postings, clearly when, I've had a Facebook page a long time, and you see a lot of the same people posting on your news feed, though there's probably a lot of other people that are friends that have also posted something that may not get into your news feed.
Right.
How do we as an organization try to make sure that our posts are getting into folks' news feeds?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the Facebook algorithm is kind of what they call how the platform determines which posts you see and which you don't. And that's another thing that Facebook is always tweaking and always changing. So you never 100% know what's going on or kind of the reasoning behind it, but you can make some educated guesses. So usually something's going to show up in your newsfeed if it's something that you've engaged with in the past. So if it's a post, for instance, if my sister always posts on Facebook and she's my sister, so I like a lot of her posts and comment on them, she's probably going to show up really high in my newsfeed, and it's more likely that I will see one of her posts in my newsfeed than perhaps someone else who I've never liked any of their posts. I've never commented on any of them. And the Facebook platform understands that as this is the content you want to see. So I'm going to show that to you versus this is the content that you don't seem to really like. So why would I show that to you?
Is it true that if, say the Carolinas District, if we have the more posts that we put out, the more likely they will get to news feeds of of the people that follow us? Is there a pattern? If you put a lot of posts out, it's more likely that people will see them?
I would say in terms of Facebook, it's not always quantity, it's usually quality. Because even if you're putting out 100 posts a day, that doesn't mean that everyone that follows you is going to see all of those posts. So I think that's part of the reason why I love talking about Facebook is there's a lot of strategies that you can do behind the scenes to make your posts stronger, to, utilize hashtags or tag people in your posts, or, run a series or something that can make people more likely to engage with it versus kind of overwhelming them with content. There's definitely a balance there, and it's hard to answer because it really differs for every organization, for every kind of use that they're trying to use Facebook for.
Right, but if our clubs are putting the hashtag Kids Need Kiwanis, for example, which is a popular hashtag in our organization, that's something that could help us get those posts on people's news feeds.
Yeah, I would think definitely, especially if those people would have potentially clicked on that hashtag before or viewed another post and from another organization that has that hashtag, that should increase.
So it's based on what their engagement has been, whether it's going to get on their post.
Yes, exactly. So that's kind of the whole thought process behind this algorithm is Facebook wants to give you content that you will like. And so how they determine what you like is based on what you've looked at in the past and have seemed to kind of enjoy by their standards.
Right. One other last question I'll throw out is, a lot of times when we do posts, eventually we get something from Facebook offering us to boost that post, and they're offering us a $5 or a $10 credit. Could you talk about boosting posts and how that works?
Sure. So boosting posts is kind of Facebook's way of letting you easily make an advertisement out of your posts. And so, like Joe said, a lot of times when you post from a page's page, that was not how I should have described that, but yes, from a page, it'll give you the option to what's called boost your post. And so that's basically where you can set a couple of parameters on who you want to see that, and you put in your credit card information, or if you have a credit, utilize that credit, and you can boost that post up basically so that more people would see it than just follow you. So you could say you want, males and females between the ages of 45 and 55 that live in Raleigh or Cary or Greensboro. And you can kind of input all that information, and it'll give you how much that's going to cost and how many people in theory you could reach with that post. And you'll boost that, and then it'll show up in those people's newsfeed as kind of as a sponsored post. So it's a little more interactive than an advertisement, I would say, because it feels a lot more authentic because it's coming from a post that you did versus something that feels very much like an advertisement.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And Mariah, first a comment, your presentation tonight is going international. We have the governor from Western Canada, Roland Sabrin, is on the call with us. There's Roland. Greetings to you, Roland, in Western Canada. So, Anne Mariah, you can put that you're an international presenter on webinars for Facebook.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of presentations, Governor Chris, and I'm really impressed with the talent that you have. I've used Facebook a lot, and Western Canada District have, and I like how you've targeted this to the neophyte, the Facebook 101, Anne Mariah. And I know when Lee gets it up, I'm going to be sharing with some of our clubs who are not yet Facebook enabled.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I think it can be scary and hard to start on a platform like Facebook, where you may have heard about it or you've heard friends or grandkids or anyone kind of talking about it, and it can be really intimidating. And so it's easy to kind of just unpack what it actually looks like to get started and kind of jump into everything that's there. It shouldn't be scary. It's supposed to be fun.
Thank you for joining us, Roland. Much
Well,
appreciated.
Thank you again, Chris, Leah, for the opportunity. And once I send that out, I will reference you as the internationally acclaimed speaker on Facebook.
Wow, that is quite an honor.
And Mariah, you mentioned strategies and stuff. I'd like to just ask a question. Are there any people on this call tonight whose club does not have a Facebook page? And Mariah's presentation is 101 is to help each of us who may not be on Facebook or have friends in our club who aren't on Facebook, but are there anyone tonight whose club does not have a Facebook page? And the reason I ask that is, to me, that could, this is just 101. You mentioned the term earlier, strategies.
Yeah.
And we're a membership organization. We're a service organization.
Mm-hmm.
But Kiwanis statistics show that every time we can add a member, we can positively impact the lives of about 166 children and youth. So the more we can grow, the better and stronger we can be as an organization. And I was just trying to think of some possible strategies. Just a very simple strategy would be, does your Kiwanis club put on its Facebook page in advance who your upcoming speakers will be? And encourage your members perhaps to tag or share the people that they know if they have an interesting speaker coming up. It might be a great opportunity for someone to join your Zoom call, or when we get past COVID-19 to come visit your club, hear a speaker, and that might be a way to get potential members into your club. I don't know if either Anne Mariah, you, or if anyone on this call would like to throw in any suggestions they may have of just about very simple strategies that might be used to as a boost for your membership growth, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100% with what you just said. I think kind of showing people what's coming up usually gets people really excited if they have no knowledge of what Kiwanis is, but they see something on their news feed about a great speaker that you're having coming in talking about, staying healthy in the time of COVID or something like that. And they see that and say, wow, I would be interested in attending that. Oh, what's Kiwanis? And then that's kind of their opportunity to learn about not only your club, but then also obviously be engaged with that speaker. So I would say that's definitely a great avenue. And I would also say if you kind of have buckets of content that you want to talk about. So you may talk about, upcoming events. You may talk about what one of your members is doing in their community and how long they've been a Kiwanian or things like that. And then you could talk about, what Kiwanis is doing in the community. So kind of thinking about the different buckets of what you could post. I think that's always great, even if it's just written down on a piece of paper and thinking about kind of what types of things you want to share with your followers. I would always recommend that as a starting point.
And Mariah, I'm curious about the events. Did you use that successfully that way? Because I don't think our club has really done that to any great extent. And then the other thing, one of the things that we're finding that's really growing here, that's much more local than Facebook, is Nextdoor. I'm not sure if you've experienced that from being in college, but Nextdoor is like individual towns, and like here we have a whole bunch of towns involved, and you really can reach a lot of people through that. Mm-hmm. It'd be great if we could figure out a way to connect it to Facebook, but I don't think we can. But it's almost like a Facebook platform. It seems to be.
Yes, I have heard of Nextdoor. I know we have one in our neighborhood here in Charlotte. I'm in all honesty, I'm not 100% sure how it all works and how you navigate the platform and how you engage with people. But I mean, it is really community focused, and it's focused on kind of bringing people together that are in the same geographic area. So might need a little more research there to be able to have an opinion on that. But in terms of events, I think there is a lot that you can do with it. You can, if you want to have a public event that in theory anyone could join, you could put your Zoom information there on how they join that meeting. You can add, a link to the speaker's website or more information about them. It's a great way to really utilize Facebook for more than just posting photos and posting information. It kind of helps people feel like there's almost something tangible with the event, because they see the little notification pop up that they have an event coming up, and it shows up in their platform. And so it's kind of a reminder that this is coming up. And I feel like if I were to see an email with an event reminder versus see something on Facebook about an event, if I'm already on Facebook and I see that, it kind of jogs your memory and you can go back and look at your email or click more information there. So I feel like it just kind of takes getting involved to a new level.
Steve, one of the things that we've seen in Canada, again, community-based, is not different platforms, but specific groups for the town of, or 100 men who care in such and such a community. So a community of interest. So basically, you're invited to the group. So typically they're closed groups, but not always. But they're people who have a similar interest. So it could be 100 things to do this weekend in Cochrane, or it could be parents with kids in kindergarten, and those will actually be named groups, special interest groups. And again, and Mariah, when you talked about Facebook and targeting, finding that person, they've already sort of self-selected. I'm in the town of Cochrane. I am interested in kids or parenting or fly fishing, whatever that is. And it's how that way to connect, to make the connection. So we've in Western Canada have used that liking and posting and sharing with these groups that have similar objectives, so sharing and posting with the Boys and Girls Club, Boy Scouts of Canada, or Boy Scouts of America. So there are a lot of ways to leverage the network that we have and the network that the community has. So things like, and I think, Mariah, you talked about tagging, including the name of the organization your speaker comes from. Hashtags, again, as another way for people to group and say, we would like to know more information.
Definitely. And I think I could have probably prepared a 3-hour-long presentation that has all of the little nitty-gritty details about Facebook. But I think in the past couple of months, Facebook has really tried to emphasize their different groups that they have. I mean, just in watching television, there are a ton of advertisements that Facebook is doing for their groups. So I think it's really the direction they want to head is to kind of bring people together, like you said, with similar interests or kind of just people that have things in common. So groups are kind of a different way to do that. But it definitely.
So maybe that's for Facebook 201.
Sure, I was just about to say that would definitely be a follow-up conversation for sure.
And Mariah, for the newer people to Facebook, explain a little bit about why it's important when a Kiwanis Club posts something, why it's important for their members to like those posts and what happens to that once they like it.
Sure. So again, like kind of what I mentioned earlier, Facebook wants to give you content that they think you're going to like. And so if you have liked a lot of Carolina's District of Kiwanis's posts, it's a lot more likely that it's going to show up on your newsfeed the next time they post. And so that's a great way to just make sure you're always seeing what's being posted. And then on the flip side of that, your friends on Facebook will, when they go on their newsfeed, they'll see, oh, Mariah Burton liked Carolina's District of Kiwanis's photo. And so that'll show up on, say, my sister's Facebook feed or my dad's or someone, and they'll be able to say, oh, she liked that post. I wonder what that's about. And they can click and find out more, or if it's something really great talking about, you know, a Kiwanis in the community that really just went above and beyond to make a difference, that could be a great conversation starter. They could add a comment to that and say, wow, that person sounds really great, or that sounds like a great opportunity. And so kind of just by liking it can open so many doors and kind of just be a lot different than you just clicking a button like what it seems like.
Thank you.
And sharing is even better, right?
Yes, sharing is even better. And again, another conversation that you could talk a lot about. Basically, when you click the share button, it takes the content and it, just like it says, it shares it with all your friends on Facebook. So if you see something that's really, really interesting and you want to kind of put your own stamp on it, you can share it, and then everyone that's connected with you would see that, even if they're not following the Carolinas District of Kiwanis page, they could see that post.
I think that gets to something our clubs probably need to do more of, and that is encouraging our members to like and share the posts that we put out that they see.
Absolutely.
And then it gets a broader audience for what we've been able to put out on Facebook.
Yes, no, definitely. It definitely can take everything one step further and just get people more involved.
And Mariah, my Facebook tutor is my wife, Danita. So I and she has very little time to teach me, but you know, from time to time she will tell me to tag somebody. And you mentioned that earlier, but when she tells me to tag somebody, she tells me just to go to the comment section and tag somebody that I'm already friends with. When I start typing in their first name, then they pop up on the screen like Leah Moretz, and I'll just click on Leah. And then like I may just send it, or I may put a comment like, Leah, you might like this, and send it. But is that the best way to tag, or is there some type of icon or simpler or faster way to tag other than typing the person's name in the comment section?
That's a great question. I think there are two different ways you can tag people. You can tag someone in a photo. So that's usually if Kiwanis has posted a photo, I think it depends on your privacy settings, but a lot of times you can go in and click, there's a little person icon, and you can add a tag to the photo. So say there's a picture of 3 people and you know that one of the people in that picture is Bill. You can add a little tag for Bill and it'll have his name on it. It'll show up kind of highlighting who that person is, and then someone could easily click on that name and then go to their profile. But like you said, kind of the opposite side of that would be to tag someone in a comment, which is where you just type the @ symbol and then their name. And so that's gonna start that conversation there, and the person who you're tagging is gonna get what's called a notification. So they're gonna know that someone that they're friends with wants them to see something. And so then they can kind of go off and see what that is and kind of engage with that, or write a comment back or tag someone else. So kind of 2 different approaches, one all about photos and one about text.
Did you say the text you put @ or the ampersand and then the person's name?
Yes.
Well, I've been doing it incorrectly already, so thank
I've been
you. So
getting them. I've been
you have
getting
it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it sometimes will automatically recognize that it's someone's name and it'll do it for you. But I usually do the @ symbol just to make sure we're checking everything off.
Yeah, and you can also do that, Chris, in the body of your post. You could say, Chris and @ symbol and Mariah Burton extolled the virtues of Facebook 101, whatever it is. So in the body of the post, as well as in the comment section. So if it's kind of natural, if you're identifying who's the guest speaker, to use it in the body of the post as well.
Yes, absolutely. It's kind of comment, text of the post. It's all just if you're using words.
Thank you. We're at 7:56. Are there other questions or Leah, do you have any comments or questions or any comments you would like to make?
Oh, I just thank everyone for their time for being here this evening. It looks like we might have a few more questions. And I've enjoyed this thoroughly. And I think within the next, before the end of this Kiwanis year, we'll have Mariah back for at least one more Facebook webinar on maybe, like we said, 201 or 102, whatever, concerning more hints and tips on how to get our Kiwanis Facebook pages liked and spread out. But it looked like maybe Chris Mall had a question.
I did. I wanted to be sure I understand when I'm tagging someone. Do you use the and symbol? I mean the @ symbol.
@ symbol, yes. So if you're tagging someone either in the body of your post or in a comment, you would type that & symbol, and then you would start typing their first name. And as you do that, there's going to be a little list that's going to come up. So say I do @ and it might show up, you know, my mom, a girl named Anna, someone named Annabeth, and you kind of have those options, and then you click who you're trying to tag in that, and then it'll show up kind of in a blue color to show that you've actually tagged the person in it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions?
When do you use groups?
Yeah, so groups can be used for a lot of different things. So like I mentioned, it's not necessarily a newer feature of Facebook, but it's one that has changed a lot, and Facebook really wants to encourage people to use that. So if you know, I'm in a group right now, I'm in a FIMU alumna group. And so that's a group that I'm in, and every time they post, I see it, and I could add my own post to that. And it's kind of just, think of it almost as like a club through Facebook. And so I could be in a group for people who like to needlepoint, or people who live in Charlotte on this street even. I mean, you can get really, really specific with it. And so it's just kind of a way to put people who have similar interests together, and really just kind of engage with them, almost like you're in a room having a conversation with them. It's just all through text and photos and videos through a group.
So for the other Kiwanians on board, I'm new, so I just joined the Columbia Golden Cake Kiwanis Club in Columbia, South Carolina in August. So I'm trying to learn new things, and they asked me to help on the Facebook page, which is like what you talked about tonight. But the group, we wouldn't be able to really use group in that we only want members to be part of our page, or
Right.
Kiwanians.
Yes. There are a couple of different ways you can do that. Within the group that you create, you can make it private. So you can make it so someone has to request to join that group. So what you could do there is you could adjust your settings. Say you have Raleigh Kiwanis has a Facebook group. You can adjust the settings so that someone would have to request to be in that group, and then whoever runs that group or is in charge of that group would have to say, yes, that person really is a Kiwanian, so let's add them into the group. Versus a Facebook page, if you like it, you see the information. So you can make it a little more specific.
So it probably would be okay to have both types of.
Definitely. Yeah, I think they serve different purposes, even though they're kind of under the same umbrella. Your Facebook page is your hub for all your information, for all your photos, all your videos. Kind of, that's going to be how you're going to engage with people that are not members of your club. And then a group is where you can establish more of a relationship with people who are members of your club.
Cool. Thank you.
Of course.
Any other questions? Well, we've been at this for an hour, and so we want to all thank Ann Mariah Burton for joining us tonight and being our presenter. Thank you, Ann Mariah, much appreciated.
Thank you guys.
Our next, we try to have here during COVID-19 2 webinars per month, and so our next webinar will be on Wednesday, December 16th, and it will be a webinar on this year's Carolinas District Service Project or Service Initiative. It's called Adopt a School. So that will be on the Adopt a School program. I will be the presenter that evening. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we hope that you will join us on December 16th for our other webinar this month. And thank each and every one of you for all you do for Kiwanis. Leah, would you like the last word?
Happy birthday, Chris.
Thank you.
It's your birthday.
Thank you. I'm up to 255 likes, so that's good. So thank you, Facebook. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Ann Mariah. Bye-bye.